Yo, 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 what is going on, Mr. Nosar?
What's up, dude?
Repping your Bears stuff? Y'all got
Man, like I told you, man, like you had your turn. The Stros are 2-0, baby.
let's go
Looks
Stros,
like
man.
a ticket punched again. I think 8 straight times or something ridiculous to the ALCS. Come on, man.
Dude,
Let's
Jordan,
go.
baby. Chef's
Yep.
kiss, man.
I mean,
Guys,
even with the
clutch
cheating
right now.
scandal a couple years ago, they're like, screw all you guys. We can get there without all that, man.
Yeah.
My Bears are playing tonight, man. My hometown, Washington, whatever you want to call them now, Redskins, Commanders, Boston
Commanders,
football team.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what they're called, man. But yeah, I'm gonna watch a little bit of it, man. So let's, it's just one of those years, man, for the Bears. Where like we don't care. Like last week, to be honest with you, I was happier even in the loss than it was when we won 2 weeks earlier. You say why? Because Justin Fields looked way better last week, even with the comeback, than they did when they won. So, it's kind of how Chicago is, man. We're miserable in winning because it's just not good enough, but we see the light when we lose. You know what I mean? There's always that optimism.
Graphics coming up when you lose.
Yes.
Texans, oh baby, can't wait.
Oh, they're terrible, man.
Oh, dude, I hope we get Bryce Young so bad.
Yeah, that could happen.
That
could happen. Yeah.
Could happen. And hopefully he's not a big fan of massage tables.
Yeah, just don't get yourself an Ohio State quarterback, man, like C.J. Stroud, man. I'm out on Ohio State quarterbacks, man. They're terrible in the NFL.
Yeah. There's no doubt. But man, we got
What's
stuff
up,
to talk
Dave,
about.
Scott, Jerry, Todd. So you want to be a Panthers fan, huh? No.
No.
What's up? What's up, Curtis? Commanders for the win. It's hard to say it. Oh my God, Curtis, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Unreal,
but, man. We both fished tournaments last weekend, bro. It's been a long time.
We did.
It's been a long time.
I mean, look, my tournament was nothing compared to what your tournament is. You guys had 182 or something like that.
187, yeah.
187. Texas Throwdown, man. Let's talk about it, bro. Let's go. Talk about fishing.
Dude, man, been fishing in Texas for 3 years. Heard about the Throwdown. Heard it's a lot of fun. Never done it. And, man, decided to do it this year. It's on basically like the region that wins. Like if you're not familiar with the tournament, when you sign up, you pick a region, and they take the best 5 bags from each region, and that's how they determine who wins. So the Central won this year, and they won the year before, and so they picked you could fish Belton or Stillhouse. Both Highland reservoirs. Stillhouse has a lot of grass. Belton's a lot of rock. And I'd never been to either. Stayed in a house with a bunch of guys from the South, and I fished for the Southeast because I'm from Conroe. And, moved out of Dallas, all that. So, dude, it was so fun. So fun. Like, big hats off to, like, there are so many people that do work, but, like, Duke has his fingerprints all over it for Mariner Sales.
Does an awesome job, man.
Dude, such an awesome job. At check-in, we had barbecue, we had beer, tons of Western Sun vodka. And just for me in particular, like getting to see all these Texas guys, like, I don't fish West Texas Trail, but I've met, like 2 or 3 of their guys at national events. So it's cool to get to see those guys, interact with them. And then aside from like individually competing, and with 187, they paid out to 19th.
That's good.
Everybody up to 19 and up got a check. And then, they hand out individual trophies. They have like small trophies for like king of your region. I think I finished 3rd for Southeast. I think there's 2 guys ahead of me. And we finished 3rd overall for Southeast. So pretty, not a terrible showing for us.
Okay, so how many regions are there? I know there's
Northeast, Central, Southeast, West. So there's 6.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Yeah, and we finished 3rd. But it's like fun. Like Chris Morales runs like the Southeast Trail, which is now like the Texas Kayak Trail. It's cool, getting posts throughout the day where he's like, "Hey, these 5 guys, are pulling it home for the boys," and stuff like that. So man, it's just so fun to like see friends I've made and stuff like that.
Like I said, I think it's an awesome thing, man. When you can get obviously state as big as yours, but if we can get all those guys together kind of at the end of the year and
Yeah.
just like you said, have a throwdown, and it's more of a like a party drinking fest,
Oh,
and everybody
totally.
camp
Yeah.
out. You know
I
what I mean?
have a fantastic picture of a JR Maccabee. And I should have asked JR if I could show it tonight, but yeah, it's
I think it's great, man. I mean,
prime.
I think more regions should do that, right? I mean, like Texas is the region itself,
Oh
but I think
yeah.
like more regions and no, we have this thing like this weekend called Battle of the Border, and it's just kind of like a Virginia North Carolina thing, and
Yeah.
I just wish there was more of that. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
for fun tournaments,
exactly.
like something I don't really talk about a ton. People, if they know me real well, might know, but like I played ultimate frisbee in college for like Texas State. We were a very good team. We went to nationals, all that kind of stuff. But during the summer, like when you weren't competing for your college team, there were like just for fun club tournaments, and they're all named, like Mardi Gras. So it's in
Yeah,
Louisiana, and you go
right.
there, and it's just a beat of beer everywhere, microbrew tents all set up.
Yeah.
You're playing the game, but it's really just seeing all the guys you compete against all year long and just getting drunk and having fun, man. And I wish there was maybe more like fun kayak tournaments in that sense.
So, dude, you caught a ton of fish, though.
Oh, bro,
Like you
I
caught a
was
ton
the
of
dink
fish,
slayer.
but still, I mean,
Yeah, it's a
these lakes
tough.
are starting to turn over, man. This is not an easy time.
Is a tough bite. I went to Stillhouse, and because I knew Stillhouse had grass, so I
Yeah.
was like, grass bass grow bigger in grass, and there's just so much hydrilla shallow. I mean, it's growing down like 15 feet off the
Man, it's
bank.
like we were talking about this time of the year, man. Like that hydrilla just gets all brown, it's stinky, it's real feathery, and it's just gets all over your bait, and it's just slimy and crap. It starts pulling up real easy. It's not an easy time to fish, man.
On Decker right now, that's happening. On Stillhouse, it was not. It was very good hydrilla.
It's good, solid,
But
right?
I like love to punch. So of course I'm like, I should try to punch. And I get out there and I just see like 500 yards of grass. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh no. No. Like I can't break all this down in a day of practice. It's like there's
Well, I mean, like you said, you weren't even prepared for that, right?
Yeah, I
You
knew
know.
it had grass and I
Yeah.
knew there was a lot of it from looking at Google Earth. And I was like, what's the chances of me breaking that down in 5 hours? Probably not real good. So, I kind of poked around a little bit on like the edge of the hydrilla mats, but
Yeah.
probably after about 30 minutes of that, I was like, I got to fish deep. Like, I got to just find fish that are going to reload every day on the main lake. And I did that. Found a couple areas where schools would kind of come up on some deeper grass lines. And I think I caught 17 fish tournament day. I caught 5 fish. I culled 5 times for like 73 inches,
That's
73 and a half.
That's ridiculous, man.
I know,
Yeah, I mean that's certainly it's a dink fest, but I mean when you're calling quarter inch by quarter inch, man.
I mean, yeah,
at least your hands are slimed for sure.
Yeah, I had fun. I fished really clean.
Yeah,
And,
you're
good
27th
confidence.
at 187, man. That's for not
I got
fishing a freaking
27th.
lake, like you don't even know where to go, what to do, and how to fish it, man. I mean, it's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, I missed cash by 8 spots. I was happy with it, but mostly like for me, it was so weird because like when we go to tournaments, we're always like, in such like a killer practice mode. You're so focused on that and retying. Like I didn't retie shit from practice. I was like, whatever, bro. Like I don't care. Like I was just so happy to see friends and do that. I think the first night we were there, like Rolando Nandine came over and Carlos Estrada, some of those guys from the South that fish national events. Rolando won Toledo Bend for Hobie. And like, bro, man, just like really getting to talk like high level stuff with people like that is just, especially if like I'm such a bait junkie. Like I love just talking to people like that, Like it's.
I mean, I'm kind of jealous, man, because when you have a throwdown like that and you're representing your regions and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, we don't have that kind of stuff here. I wish we did, man. But I think it's phenomenal. I've always been jealous of that tournament. You know what I mean, or that event because
Oh,
it sounds like a freaking blast, dude.
dude, it's so fun. A guy that fished for Central, Andrew Jacobson is his name, and he like fishes a ton of Southeast Texas tournaments. So it was like hilarious seeing him like hang out with the Southeast guys, but kind of
Yeah,
with the Central guys. And all the Southeast guys are like, "Oh, you fucking traitor."
bro. I have to tell you though, man. Like I was looking you up, man. You got to get rid of the iAngler stuff, man. That iAngler's trash.
Ooh, that was rough.
Come on, man. That's so outdated, dude. That's like, I don't know, man. That's just like
it's hilarious.
come
Like
on, dude. Come on, dude. Get with the program. Let's
I
get
think
to like
one
30X
time,
or something.
I think one time I was like, "Hey, Duke, man, what's up with the eye angler?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" Like, just he totally plays it off. He doesn't like he won't entertain it. He
Come
just
on,
like
man.
you can submit your fish.
He's got to have stock in it, right? I mean,
I don't know, man. All day long though, like it's a for fun tournament, so like I don't know if the leaderboard was off, but like I just couldn't check the leaderboard all day.
yeah.
Like I just wanted to see what people were catching and stuff.
Like,
Just
I think that's the only place I know that uses iAngler. I mean, I think there's like saltwater stuff that uses
saltwater.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm just like, man, like it's tough trying to find that app to see how you're doing, man. You know what I mean?
Like what was weird was I could upload fish super easy. It was
Yeah,
working great, but if I wanted to check the leaderboard, it would just sit there and spin and be like timed
yeah,
out. And I
yeah.
was like, "Come
The
on,
one
bro!"
thing about it though, I thought was pretty cool is it has like your state flag and stuff next to
Yes,
that is pretty cool.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, really cool. Has your state flag. The guy that actually got king of the region for Southeast Texas, he's from Canada, so he has like a Canadian flag.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was hilarious being like, "Who's this guy? Like, who's this Canadian?"
Yeah.
I like saw a screenshot somebody else took, and I was like, "Oh, that's freaking sick."
Well, bro, I wish my adventures on the water was as fun as yours. I mean, look, man, Kerr Lake is like it was a last minute thing, right? Because we had the KBF. I'm sorry, we had the KFL championship weekend last weekend, right? So,
right.
But the Battle of the Border is one of those things I like to join, man, because it also supports like CKA, which is Central Kayak Anglers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Carolina Kayak Anglers, and also VKT, which is Virginia Kayak Trail, and then NVKBA. And like I told you, man, like next year, I want to kind of like take a step back from the national scene and just kind of focus on local stuff and and support whatever I can to that cause. And again, Kerr Lake's one of those lakes, man. It's just not fun. And like Nathan Greenwood went down there, dude, and practiced all week. He didn't catch a single fish. It was fishing so freaking tough. Yeah. And so, there's this creek I go fish, and it's hit or miss. A lot of white basses in there, man. But I was expecting because, dude, how like in the fall the bait starts getting back in these creeks, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see any bait whatsoever, man. So I'm like, good Lord. So, I launched at this bridge, and there was a ramp right there. And, dude, I went back 6 freaking miles back in this freaking creek in my Hobie, right? And it's one thing when you're doing it on a motor. It's another thing when you're cranking this Outback back there. And, man, I started off second cast, threw a spinnerbait in, hit a 14-incher. It's jumping all over the freaking place. And I'm just not, man, like I haven't fished in a while, like especially out of the Outback. I haven't fished in a while, right? Yeah. So I'm just trying to get my bearings, trying to get my balance, trying to get, just kind of feeling it out. Totally. And I'm skip casting a freaking spinnerbait into a log. It smacks the log like I want it to, just let it flutter down. Boom, And so I'm fighting this thing and it jumps off. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I got all freaking day. And so anyway, and then I started, trying different things, chatterbait and everything else. But there's a lot of leaves on the water, right? Like right now, I mean, the leaves are just dumping, right?
Yeah.
And literally miles down this creek, it's all like covered in leaves, and there's no water flow, and it's kind of hard because I like to throw a freaking chatterbait. And like the second you throw the chatterbait into these leaves, you can't get the freaking thing down, and you can't you bring it back, you got this big clump of leaves and crap.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to kind of figure out what bait you want to use, and that's the downfall of fall fishing. It's just kind of fishing that stuff. And Blake, man, I tell you what, man, I don't know how to fish.
Yeah, I forgot how to fish. Just say it. You sucked.
I freaking suck, dude.
It happened,
dude. Straight up, like. the creek is clear, okay?
Yeah.
And like there's section that didn't have any leaves. There's a bunch of laydowns, and so I'm skipping in a freaking fluke, like a white fluke with chartreuse tail, and I'm skipping it in underneath this log, and I see this freaking bass. I mean, it was like an 18-incher, right? Comes up, grabs it. I can see it swallow it. I set the freaking hook, and it starts immediately like running to my kayak, and I'm like reeling down, trying to get it in. And the second I go try to grab my net or try to go grab the fish, freaking thing pops off. And I'm like, oh my God. This happened to me 7 times, dude. In a row. 7 freaking times. And so, like, I had the hook, how you hook a fluke. I had the hook coming out of the back, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, screw this, man. I'm going to go ahead and reverse it and belly hook it. I tried everything. And once I started belly hooking it, I caught 2 16s. Well, then I threw a freaking fluke up on this, like, isolated log in the middle of the creek, and all of a sudden, boom, and all my drag was just going. I'm like, oh my God. And then I see this freaking like tank of a bass. It's like 20, 21 inches, man. Comes around my kayak, gets underneath my freaking kayak, and starts wrapping itself around my pedals. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm picking up my pedals. I can see his back through the freaking hole, and then I went to go grab the rod and go in this way, and then freaking fluke goes popping out, man. I forgot honestly, dude, I was sick. Absolutely sick. I mean, Eric Nelson wound up winning the tournament. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But, dude, I had enough fish on my hook. I could have easily taken care of business, and I didn't because I freaking suck. I don't know how to fish anymore, man. It sucks.
Yeah. What up, Greg?
What's up, Greg?
What up?
Lord.
What up?
But, yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things. But it's not a good way to end the year. But congratulations, Eric Nelson. Wound up winning the tournament, man. It was a tough. There was no doubt. I mean, a lot of these guys were struggling, but it was just that time of year, man. Curse is a tough lake, but I had fun, man. Like I said, got the line wet, got the chance to freaking have a little fun, and then I come back, man. I'm watching my phone, and my phone battery's not working, and all this other stuff. But I watched my phone, and I saw 2 games, dude, from the KFL. I saw freaking the Maulers and Indianapolis Knights. That was a ridiculous game.
Yeah, great game.
Yeah,
great game.
Come down to 3/4 of an inch, and then by like 10:30, I'm watching, and all of a sudden, man, I see Virginia Reapers just get absolutely smashed. Absolutely smashed.
Rest in peace, Reaps.
Yeah, I mean,
man,
did their thing, man.
Yeah, before we jump more into that, you mentioned going up a creek earlier, and well, uh-oh is right, man. We have an official protest.
Yeah.
For the Bassmaster on Pickwick. Drew Gregory took it down, man. He's been just lights out this season. Don't know a ton of particulars, but it looks like multiple anglers have voiced concerns, I guess, about the area he was fishing. I've seen quite a few posts on public forums about it.
Man,
thoughts?
So I've got 2 reactions to this, and I'll say this, man. I blame Bass.
Okay.
I'll blame Bass because Bass did not set the boundaries the way they should have. Right. At Pickwick, there's southern creeks and arms that they did set a boundary at Yellow Creek, which was 25 bridge. Bear Creek was no boundary set. And the rest of the lake, there was really no boundary set except for dam to dam, right? Wheeler to Pickwick Dam.
Yep.
When you do that, though, man, it opens the door for basically critiquing where you can go fish and where you can't go fish. And the way the rule is you have to be able to paddle from the lake, right? Or you have to have access of connecting water from the lake. Now, Bear Creek, or this creek that he was in, you can obviously see on the map that it's connected.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's connected. I mean, and it leads, like Yellow Creek leads into Bay Springs. And when I started seeing these like yellow bellied spotted bass, I thought that's where he was. I thought for sure he's out of bounds. I thought for sure he was at Bay Springs, because that's really the only place I know out of Pickwick where you see spotted bass like that, right? And I'm like, there's no way this is going to stand. And then another thing too, kind of raised the red flag was when you have a guy named like Guillermo, right, in his ability, and he's catching like 83 to 86 inches or whatever it was, and then Drew's like 95, and I mean that
94,
separates,
94 something.
yeah, that separates first and second, and then the species of fish is nowhere near the dominant species of fish of that size in that lake. I knew something was wrong, right? You just have to you know something's wrong. I mean, it's just not the way it was, you know.
I mean, maybe, you know, like it's hard because I mean, when I saw that, I mean, Drew's had just a crazy year.
Go Bears, man! Bear down, John Allen. Let's go.
John Allen looking for sponsors. Hey,
Let's
man,
go.
dude, you weren't even at Throwdown, homie. I wanted to see you there.
Yeah.
That was my greatest disappointment with Throwdown. I didn't get to see either one of the Allen brothers. That hurt my heart.
Yeah.
My homies. But man, like Drew's had a crazy, crazy good year. But I guess, you know, like I really don't want to like take away from like any accomplishments, but like we kind of have maybe seen, not seen, hard to say. I feel like it's maybe a thing. It doesn't get talked about a lot. When guys start having these type of years, it's kind of like where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
And then I guess maybe they get to a point to where the other anglers finally feel like they have to speak up. I don't know Drew Greger personally, and I'm not saying he purposely did that. I'm just saying, you know, like we saw a deal before with like Russ. Russ was really dominant. And then it came out he was like in a marina. And then, you know, like he's kind of been laying, I don't want to say laying low, but he's not been the Russ Snyder's that was like so dominant. And then, you know, Drew's having this insane year, bro. I think he's won like 5 national tournaments.
Right.
Like 3 bass, like a Hobie, maybe 2 Hobies. I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. But, you know, when I saw him take it down, I was just like, God, dude, he's just unstoppable right now. And then like the protest came out, and I was like, ugh, like, and these are from anglers, right? You know, like the official protests come from the other anglers. So I mean, these are his peers.
We're not saying Drew cheated, John.
I don't know if he did or not, man. I'm seeing that multiple anglers put in protest because they think he was fishing in a legal area.
Yeah.
I have no idea if he.
Well, I mean, like here's the thing too, man. Like
my understanding was it's an area that is connected to the lake, but the water was dropping, and that the area back in that creek, because the water dropped so low, I guess there was like log jams or hard bank or something that you could not pedal over. You could not get your kayak over without getting out and like dragging it over that.
BK, here's my problem though, okay? KBF allows you to do it, right? And you can go over like beaver dams, temporary objects, something that's not permanent, but no man-made objects like levees and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, rollers.
The thing is this, you can do it at the Susquehanna River, even with Hobie, okay? The Susky allows you, I mean, you're allowed to do, like get out of your kayak, tether your kayak.
It's stated in the rules beforehand you can do it.
Right. But dude, here's your problem. If you do it there, okay, and if it's river specific, you need to basically all three KBF, Bass, and Hobie need to get on together and say, look, man, here's the global set of rules. And each lake is going to have its own little thing. Like Grand Lake, you can't get away from the bank for 50 yards. There are going to be little special nuances and stuff like that. But I guess my question is this: if you're going to allow it for Bass and Susky at Susky and Hobie at Susky, if you're going to allow it for there, then why would you not allow it anywhere else? I don't understand. Like, why is Susky so special that you're going to allow it for that and not allow it for everywhere else? Now, with all that being said, the rules were the rules, right? Bass said, and they had a captain's meeting that said, you have to navigate. You cannot get out of your kayak. You have to navigate either from the lake or through wherever you are. Having a temporary object, and I think Drew even admitted, I think it was on the other podcast, he said that once he saw the obstruction or a laydown, he then turned back upstream, which means that there was a disconnect I mean, and another thing too, by the way, going 24 miles south of where the lake is, I think is a little extreme too. You know what I mean? 24 miles up a creek. I mean, are you really fishing Pickwick?
Well, I mean,
Come on.
that's boundary stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I don't care so much about that. I think the thing is like whether we're talking about the Susky or any special body water, if there's a rule that's exclusive to that tournament, I don't have a problem with it as long as the rule is like clearly stated, right?
Yeah.
So if it says you can get out as long as your kayak is tethered to you, that's fine. But if it says you cannot leave your kayak,
And bass is like that to the latter, BK.
And I know because
Yeah.
like I've fished a bass tournament this year.
Yeah.
Like I know what the rule was when I fished with them was you don't get out of your kayak to like pull it over something.
Right.
So I don't know. You know, I've seen some social media videos of the creek and stuff like that. It certainly looks low, but even that's hard to prove from day to day because the water was dropping so much. You know,
Yeah.
like, and ultimately, man, I feel like bass. I feel like their hands are tied, man.
I don't think so. I think it's clear as day. I mean, I think you have to DQ them.
I don't think like we have seen across other major trails if there is a shred of unless there is like a message of Drew saying, "Yep, oh I got this spot," and I literally have to like pull my kayak over, lol, XD, whatever. Like I just don't know. Like I mean, Ron Champion's still fishing, man. Like because he said what I didn't know I couldn't bend the board. Basically to something to that effect, and like he's still fishing. Like,
I'm not okay. So look, I'm not saying ban Drew Gregory. I'm just saying, I think for that particular event and the AOI, I mean, at the end of the day, man, look, here's the deal. Like I said, Drew said this great in his video. He said, "Look, man, I have a different skill set than a normal lake fisherman. I can't go out and go out and deep water fish and all that. He's a creek fisherman. That's what he does. I mean, everybody knows that. When you fish against Drew, you know he's going to be in some creek somewhere fishing some skinny water, and then either a fish you're going to be there or not.
Yeah,
and like he said, having it under protest doesn't bother him because that's the only way to keep everybody accountable. And that's and BK, let me say this.
That's fair.
I think that's what's wrong. I come from the golf world, man, and I think that's what's wrong with half the things that's going on. There's trails, like you just said, that keep on sweeping things under the rug. You know what I mean? Allowing bigger names to do things that are in gray areas, right? And no one in the field is really kind of keeping it accountable because no one wants to have that, like a protest underneath their name, or they don't want to sound like crybabies, or they don't think, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be the person that called someone else out.
Yeah, but like you don't want to be that guy, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the prison theory. You don't want to be that snitch. But dude, in golf, like that's the only way to keep the sport clean is you have to keep the field accountable, right? And BK, you know it and I know it, man. When we try to do that, like on stuff that we run, either through KBBT or KFL, we're considered like, the bad guy. You know what I mean? But until the bigger names start calling out the bigger names, man, it's gotta get to the point to where these people have to start standing up and saying something. And if you feel that somebody, I don't care what the big name is, did something wrong or needs to be looked at, they've got to start saying something. You know what I mean? And not feel bad for it.
I just feel like it was a step forward that if you think something happened, that multiple anglers said, "Hey, I think something happened." And like I said, that doesn't mean that Drew cheated or that like he knowingly did it or did it with malintent or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that this time somebody said, "Hey, like,
what's up, Josh?"
I think, I think he was fishing in an area he shouldn't have been fishing in and protested it. That's just a step forward. And then from here, we'll see what Bass does. I'm just saying that I feel like there have been certain photos.
I have to ask you this question, though, man. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
It's your question. You fished enough tournaments, man. If you are whatever. Let's say you're fishing Toledo Bend. Okay. You got a creek arm off Toledo Bend, and you're 25 miles away from Toledo Bend, the lake. Don't you know deep down somewhere, and you're on the skinny creek, and you're catching, let's say there's smallmouths happen to be, and that, which is very rare out of your area, but you know that you're catching smallmouths in an area that is not inducive of what Toledo Bend is, right? Wouldn't you think, though, deep down, that you're like, maybe I need to check this area out and make sure that I'm okay? Wouldn't you think that it's on the angler to kind of say, I got to make sure I'm still in bounds here? 25 miles or 24 miles away from the lake?
I think we know that kayak tournaments value this sort of like grassroots thing about like you really get on Google Earth and you go find some crazy put in and you launch way back in the shit and like like there is part of that I think that is like more traditional or like near and dear to kayaking for some reason. I see a lot of people now calling for like shotgun starts or designated ramps. And the argument I always see against that is like, well, that takes the kayaking thing out of it. Like, I don't know if it does or it doesn't. Like, I'm still fairly new in this game. I've not been doing it for 15 years. I don't have a problem with it because I just want the conditions for everybody to be like, you're fishing the same shit. You're just fishing the same lake. It's the same body of water. It's the same time. So, like, I don't have a problem if they say you can only launch at public boat ramps. That doesn't bother me.
I think it's twofold, man. I think ultimately it was the failure on Bass to put where the boundary should have been, right? I think it's a failure to where you can't, like, Hobie does a great job on listing what the boundaries are, right? Like, there's a clear-cut area of where you can and can't go. I think they do a good job of that. You know what I mean? I think you're going to have the same problem at the KBF National Championship this week. It's 180, 200 miles of lake at Kentucky Lake. And the rules are you can go dam to dam, right? Yeah. And then any connecting bodies of water and tributaries of thereof. Dude, you can go to freaking Ohio and fish if you wanted to. And sit there and say, well, this creek connects to this creek connects to that creek, and so on. If you go to La Crosse, right? And you go to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and you're fishing the Mississippi River, then why wouldn't you go fishing down in Mississippi and fish the La Crosse tournament, dude? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how ridiculous is that? But you know what the rules are? If you don't specify that you fish the same body of water it's connecting. I mean, that's ridiculous,
Yeah, I mean, look, but I don't think any of that's on Drew, right? Like, if the area is gray, anglers will always push that to the absolute limit. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, right? But I don't know if it's really a boundary thing as much as was the area accessible, right? That's the argument. That's what they're protesting, is that the area wasn't accessible from the main body of water.
From the main body of water. Now, look, 24 miles. I went up 6 miles, okay? I went down 6 miles, and that's a long way, right? Now, thankfully, it was deep enough all the way through. I didn't have any obstructions or anything like that. There's no shoals. It was all full water. But that's a long – dude, I can't imagine. That's 4 times as long as what I went, and it took me all day to get there and then back, right? There's no way that you, and especially in a creek or a lake that was down 2, 3 feet, there's no way that there isn't some kind of shoal, tree, something that's blocking the obstruction or an obstruction that's blocking your way to where you're at. I mean, there's no way. It's nature, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm just saying, like, even at like, we fished a very, very flooded Sam Rayburn for a Hobie event.
Right.
There was guys launching off bridges and shit. Sure. I mean, they're dumping their kayaks in wherever you could get them. And
the launches were flooded.
Yeah, but I mean, even the launches were flooded. So, like, I thought AJ and everybody that fished that tournament, was there probably somebody launching in a pasture, Yeah, probably, but they didn't win the event, so it doesn't matter. But I thought AJ was basically like, if it's main lake and it's public land, man, like you can put it in.
Josh says, at what point does the TD bring into question how far off the waters an angler is in after the protest? I look at the imagery for Pickwick. You could run some creeks up to 15, 30 miles. That's a great question. I mean, that's the thing. That has to be set before the tournament. You know what I mean? Those type of boundaries have to be set before the tournament. And
and to like Josh's point, I think kind of what I was saying. Yeah, JR, what up, man? I was talking about you earlier with that great picture I got. I wanted to show my people. But like something that like when I fished Hobie, anyways, was that they have boundaries for launching. And so as a judge, right? So let's say like the 5 miles back in that creek, right, is a launch point, and then you get a fish with the geolocation and it's 10 miles past that and it's been 30 minutes since they launched. Well, you can do the math on how long it takes you to run 10 miles in a kayak. Like,
right. Yeah, you better not have a fish past 10:30, right?
Exactly.
I mean, or
right.
Before 10:30, right?
And so, it's like there are things like that at least when I fished Hobie, I thought that was very effective because I was like, they were like, as long as you launch here, you can go as far as you want. Just don't drag your kayak over anything. And like that's it. So, I thought that worked well, but maybe that's happening in other events too, and I just don't know about it. Like I'm not the most well connected on that front, but like I had heard rumblings before this tournament about people launching and doing very well in national events in these gray areas.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, okay, so let me ask you this though. With a broad stroke, when somebody is dominating like consistently in this sport particularly, should there be red flags? Like if you win like 5 times or 6 times out of the year, okay, in various tournaments, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, man? I mean, because like especially with the fields that these guys fish in, and then you're still going against nature. I mean, what's your thoughts about a guy that's ultimately dominated? Because we've now seen this several times, right? Like something's got to be called into question.
I think, Greg, I'm just a believer in this, like, because I like a lot of obscure sports. Is that like if we were living in thank you, wine.
Right.
That if we were living like 15 years ago and a guy was doing it, it wouldn't surprise me as much because like not everybody had forward-facing sonar. Thank you. Like not everybody was as, there wasn't sort of YouTube content this now. The fields now are too good. The fields are too good.
Right.
Like, let me just give you this past weekend. J.R. Maccabee won it the year before, and another guy in our house won it 3 years prior, Jacob Moeller.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Maccabee, how'd you do in that tournament, bud? Oh, you skunked? Yep. Moeller caught, 5 fish for like 60 inches, 63 inches? Moeller's like one of the best. He just won at Lake Fork, man. Like, the dude is a hammer. And he can't win 5 events in a row in Texas.
Right.
I mean, at all. Like, there are just too many talented anglers now. And that's why I brought up the thing earlier with, Russ. Like, I've met Russ, man. Super nice guy. But, like, when he was just so dominant, he was winning every tournament, it was kind of like, man, how is he doing that? And then we got an event where he's fishing an illegal marina and another boat saw him. And since then, like, he's not been that dominant. And so it's like, Ron Champion, crazy dominant. Like, I haven't seen an example of somebody being that dominant and there not being a little smidge next to their name.
Well, to me, though, man, is like, I guess what calls me kind of take a step back is if you're fishing the tournament, like some of these guys are like ghosts. You never see them. Like You're never launching at the same launch as these guys. Like, and you would think though, BK, that eventually you're going to see somebody, like you would see them somewhere, right? But you never see these guys a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like anywhere.
Sometimes, man, but like, I guess like obviously I'm from Texas. I'm very like prideful about the Texas fishermen and stuff, but like I am a big like Guillermo simp, like and Brian Howell. Like I love those dudes. I think they're so good. But like to watch Guillermo this year in a tournament I fished against him at Fork go out and just string 92 inches together on a freezing cold day like it was nothing. I was like, God, dude, like I don't know how he does it. But then the next day he like zeros.
So
That's Guillermo on Fork, man.
I know.
Like,
That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't happen.
No, I hear you, dude. I hear you. I'm gonna ask everybody in the chat. What would be your reaction if Bass did not DQ Drew? Or give me your reaction if they do. What give me your reaction either way. First of all, what would be your reaction if they did not DQ Drew? From what you know. I mean, again, we don't know all the facts, but what you hear, what you've seen, what you've heard from him, I mean, there's a lot of comments, like you said. I'm sure a lot of people have done the research and all this other stuff, but give me your reaction if Bat doesn't do anything. What would be your reaction, BK?
I don't, man. I don't know. Like, unfortunately, I have been in the position where we've had to ban someone.
Oh, we've had to ban several people.
Yeah, but I mean, like one in particular, and
right,
that we needed in that instance very, very clear evidence, not circumstantial. Because all that we got brought initially was just people saying, oh, it's this, and other people saying, oh, it's that. And if you're enforcing rules based on hearsay, I don't think that's a good look either. I just don't. And so I think you always have to have like hard proof, like somebody taking a photo of you doing this on a catch board and it bending, and then you saying, oh, I didn't know I couldn't do that, or something like that. If somebody had ever done that. I don't know if anybody's ever done that, but I'm just hypothetically here speaking.
That's never happened.
I don't know if it's happened or not. But if it did, you'd think that guy would be banned, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you would think, right.
Yeah. But there's just stuff like that, where it's proving intent to do it is so hard. And then proving that it happened, especially so far up a creek, and the dragging up, like stuff like that, like that's hard to prove because the water was falling crazy. I mean, we heard from like Saturday to Sunday, it fell like 2 feet, 2.5 feet.
Yeah, I mean,
like that. So you could literally say, "Oh, I could get to those fish Saturday, but on Sunday, that's why my score was lower because I couldn't get to those fish. I had enough water to get back there on Saturday." And I just think that's going to put Bass in a really tough spot, man.
He's already admitted that there was an obstruction, a laydown. He admitted this on air.
Yeah.
That there was an obstruction and a laydown that he stopped at and went back up the creek. Okay. So you got to remember that obstruction, that laydown has already like blocking his access to the main lake because he launched above the creek and then floated towards the lake. Right. And if that laydown was there and he had to turn around and go back towards like the ramp where he launched, well, then he's already admitted that the fact that he couldn't access the lake from that point. I mean, he's already admitted it.
Well, that's like one way to look at it, I guess. But if like the launch area, like, what does that mean? Like you couldn't go over it, but like it was accessible other ways. Like there's water there. Like, I don't know, man. Like from what I've heard, what I see, if you ask me for my gut reaction, it has nothing to do with intent at this point. I just think he probably fished an area he shouldn't have been fishing.
Right.
And I think he should be DQ'd from the tournament. Not
Exactly.
banned, not banned.
No.
DQ'd from the
We're not
tournament.
saying he should be banned. No. I mean, look, man, people make
Now, if it's
mistakes.
intent
Right.
to
People make
manipulate the
mistakes.
rules, then
Yeah,
that's
people
banned.
make mistakes, and there is great
Yes.
question here, and I mean, we're not asking for that, but at the end of the day, it's like no different from a golfer who signs a wrong scorecard. Man, his intent was not to sign the wrong scorecard. His intent was, he was distracted, whatever, and then he's DQ'd from the tournament. I mean, it just happens, right? You put the wrong score down or whatever it is, but
Yeah.
it's the same situation. Mistakes happen, but at the end of the day, man, look, if Bass, who is a stickler for the rules, dude. We were just talking about this. Gerald Swindle's nephew fished the tournament, dude. Didn't have the right insurance coverage. Like, they're supposed to have $300,000 in insurance coverage on his bass boat. He had $150,000 in coverage on a like spot check, right? Like, he's like 2 days into the tournament, they DQ'd him from the tournament because he didn't have the sufficient insurance, right, on day 3. So they DQ'd him from the tournament, dude. Okay, this is the kind of body that literally is a stickler for the rules. But I guarantee you that this organization knows what the rules are, how it's supposed to be interpreted, and there's a rules committee or a rules board that's there to help interpret the rules. If they sit there and think that, hey, this is a gray area, this is something that we need to take a look at, and we're just going to let this go, I don't think that's going to happen, man.
The best thing, and I'm going to talk about this because I literally think it's a thing, and I'm just going to say it because it's my opinion. It doesn't matter.
Let's go! Come on, Bears.
The best thing,
baby. Let's go. 64 yards. They're first to goal.
The best thing Bass can do is probably be overly strict on the rules here.
Yeah.
Because we are at a point now with kayaking where, yeah, maybe some people that post their opinion online, maybe they don't fish a ton. But I think there is like a general distrust amongst kayakers of a lot of big organizations because they haven't banned people. They like, it's hilarious to hear it talk about because, like, I know so many people at top really do bust ass, work super hard. Like, I love watching like Bailey. I don't even know how you say his last name. Engelbridge.
I think
the guy from New York.
Eckberg or something like that.
Eckelben. Like, I don't know, like, I love watching that guy's videos, man. Gets out there, works hard, grinds his ass off, whatever.
Right.
Those guys are on top for a reason. They're always good for a reason. But in the kayak community, I think it is common belief that there are guys who are good because they only get information or this, that, and the other. They fish illegal areas. And I think for Bass to come down on a huge name and Drew and say, hey, man, we think you violated the rules. We're stripping you of that. While, like, Drew, from what I hear from other people, is like a super nice guy, stand up. That kind of stuff, even to really nice people, needs to happen to keep the like integrity levels up. And I think the best thing Bass can do is kind of put their fist down because, like, we've all had some things to say about Bass with how much they take in the pot, the way they've ran some tournaments. And for them to kind of take a step in like no, when you fish with us, like, the rules are the rules for everyone.
Yeah.
That would be at least for me, in the way that, like, when I fish a Hobie, I feel like I'm a celebrity because they treat you so well.
It would be a very respectful thing to do. Like, it would bring credibility.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about because, like, the one, at least for me, black eye on Hobie, as much as like I'm a homer for like their tournaments because I think they're great, is that there's just some guys still fishing their tournaments that I don't think should be. And that's always the black eye. It's like you had a chance to make an example of somebody that did something bad and you didn't do it. And now Bass kind of has that opportunity to be like, nope, when you fish with us, we will uphold the rules and our understanding of the rules. Now, if they do an investigation and all that.
Jesus Christ. 4th and 1 on the 1 and they got stopped. Get out of here. Sorry, dude. That's unbelievable.
That's okay, man. I don't know why you're shocked. It's the Bears.
Shocked, dude. Come on. At least they ran the ball.
Yeah, at least. But like that's kind of just where I'm at. Is that, like, this is a chance for them just to kind of like put their foot down because, like, man, if there has been a failure in KBF, that's been it. There's been lots, but like that is one.
Okay, so let
That
me ask you, let's just be real, man. What about like the protected names like Hobie and Bass, and then they're given a pass by a lot of people, okay, and a lot of podcasts. They're given like an absolute, like they're looked at a completely different way, because damn well, dude, if this happened into a KBF event, all hell would break loose. All hell would break loose. The freaking internet would be blowing up if this happened at a KBF event. But
I
this is
think
kind of like muted because
I
this is
think
on the Bass event, dude.
Greg, I think the difference is that there's been, from my knowledge, like one black guy on a Hobie event, like with an opportunity they had maybe to do things a certain way, and like for whatever reason, like I'm not privy to that legalities, whatever they chose not to. KBF's had like 15.
But they've been around longer.
Is so what, man? Like I know that was like an earlier time in kayaking, but like they kind of had, like, this is the deal with KBF, right? Like they were the pioneer, but like heavy is the head that wears the crown, my man. You know that. Like in Hobie
But
now has that.
should it matter though? I mean, should it
Yes.
matter?
Yes.
But
Yes.
okay, like I'm talking about Ron Champion. That whole thing when it happened to him.
I know.
Dude, people are like trying to sweep that under the rug as quickly as possible. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, he didn't break the rules. I mean, you heard all those excuses, man. Like, it really wasn't against the rules. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I like AJ and all that. I mean, but
what I'm saying is that was an isolated incident, and since then, Hobie's like gotten it together. I don't know of an incident since that outside of like the dude fishing Marina, which they DQ'd the fish for the day. So it's like they're kind
of from the tournament.
Maybe so. Like I don't disagree with that. I think that too, but I'm not the TD, and if that's not the rules, it's not the rules. But what I'm saying is they've made like the steps to correct it, where it seems like, I think for most people outside of KVF who aren't in their meetings and don't know all the rulings, we've had one too many like incidents there where it's like, you're gonna punish that guy, you're gonna do anything, and they just don't. That, I mean, maybe you know differently, man. That's just, you know me. I've never fished a KBF event. I don't fish them.
I will tell you, yes, you're exactly right, because I mean, I know situations of pretty big names, man, that I'm not going to name names, but I mean, there's been a lot of questions about it, and now more and more stuff comes out. You're sitting there going, well, why wasn't this taken care of 2-3 years ago? If this is a repeated pattern over and over and over again, and the other organizations knew about that this was a pattern, why is it taking it now for this to come out? I mean, and how much money have these people won on the backs of other anglers? But again, it's a combination of things. It's anglers not holding anglers accountable. You know what I mean? And not making a big stink about it.
Some of it is, man, but sometimes I think there has been a stink made about it where it went to the TD. And like you said, and especially, sorry, but with KBF, I've not fished it. I don't know, but I hear a whole lot of talk about where people filed complaints and it was just not ever brought up.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, I know
swept under the rug by TDs.
Well, there's been people that have failed lie detector tests and nothing has happened, right? And it's like, well, then why even have them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why even have them?
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's just I guess it's a thing, like I watch Brandon Pollinuk's like YouTube videos. And I watched a video where he doesn't have a camera boat in the boat. He makes a cast and he goes, oh, I forgot to call. And he goes out and he pulls his sixth fish out of the live well and puts it in the water. And he immediately called the TD and said, I just made a cast with 6 fish. And he got a 2-pound deduction for that. And when I watched that video, the only thing I could think of was like, that would never happen in kayaking.
Yeah.
Like, sadly, that was all I could think about. And it sucks because 99% of the people fishing these tournaments are just like straight laced. They want to go out there. They want to compete, have a good time. But just a few, man, that have like pushed the limits so far, and
You
I
know,
feel like
well,
people
I
haven't cracked
compare.
down on it,
Well, I
man.
compare it. Look, man, you know this. I was in the NASCAR world for a couple of years, man,
Yeah,
and that whole um, stock car industry, man. And look, man, there was an old adage, man. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? If you're not trying to do something that's going to be pushing the boundaries and pushing the boundaries until you get caught, and usually when you get caught, it's kind of like a slap on the wrist, and then there's no um, strict punishment for people who do break the rules. Now, Chad Knaus with Jimmy Johnson, finally, I mean, he was suspended, he was stripped of a title, and finally the NASCAR started coming down on these guys because they were their rules of cheating was so egregious, and there was such a competitive advantage. And you have 7-time world champion, Jimmy Johnson winning when we all know
right.
four of those were literally cheating.
Yeah,
There's
Patriots.
just no way around it. I mean, Chad Canales has been cheating since the day he got into NASCAR. But again, I'm not saying, these guys who know the gray areas and know the rules, and they use the rules to kind of, bend them to their advantage, right? This has been going on in kayak fishing for years, man. And again, it's somebody has to be made an example of, or some people have to be made an example of, and until anglers hold each other accountable and bigger names, and I'm saying all the bigger names are doing this, but until notable names that have been doing it are not punished,
Yeah,
then it'll continue, man.
and
It'll continue.
and Josh Deal, like you're totally right, man. Like I said that just that was just my thought, man. I'm not saying that all the kayak communities like that. That was just my thought, man. When I watched that video, that's how I felt.
Yeah,
But you know, Greg, I think ultimately what I hope the big trails will realize is that kayak fishing has become so popular now. There is no one name that is so vital to the trail, to your organization, that they're untouchable anymore. It's not that way.
I agree.
It is so it is so popular. People love kayak fishing so much. There's so many up and comers, so many young, talented people.
I agree, man.
Like
So
we saw that guy. When your favorite lake you follow, or not you follow. I'm sorry, Arkansas River, Dardanelle. That young kid go out there and win that.
yeah,
That was
awesome.
amazing.
It was
See
awesome.
what Ewing Minor has done since he came into the sport.
So which begs the question of this, BK? Okay, for last 5 years, there's been let's say a handful of 10, 15 names that have dominated the sport consistently, right? Have made their names, in kayak fishing. Don't you think now, though, because of the popularity, there is a changing of the guard? You're not seeing their names up on top of the leaderboard as much, and you're seeing this, you know, revolving door of fresh names coming through. Like no one knew who a Ewing Minor was a couple years ago. I mean, he's another up and comer. Nolan Minor in the same way. This kid that just won Dardanelle, he's going to be a stick. Justin Patrick, who won over at Chickamauga. I mean, there's these different names that are coming through that are taking, they're taking the sport by storm, right? Don't you think
Yep.
that there's a little bit of a turnover now? I mean, of
I,
names coming
I,
through?
I don't want to say that, man. Like Greg, I love disc golf. I love that.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I love watching it. So something that's happening in that sport right now is kind of what we've seen is that like, yo, good night, Josh, man. For like 10 years, when a guy was dominant, they're just dominant. They win like 50% of the tournaments. It's so popular now after COVID. I think on tour this year they had like 12 different winners in like 18 events. And golf is that way right now.
it is.
Professional golf.
So my
Like
question is this.
week in, week out, you don't know. And so I think that's just the point we're at in kayak fishing
Yeah,
now is that the old names are still very good. Like Guillermo is still great. Scotch is still very good. Scotch has been one fish away, man, from like stringing an amazing tournament together. Christine's still very good. Like there are still a lot of these people that are like, you know, pioneers in it, I guess, that like made the national scene. They've been doing the national scene for so long that like you still see them near the top and competitive. It's just that the field now is so good. You're gonna see 2 or 3 names, I think, every event in the top 10 where you're like, I don't even know who that is.
No, I agree. But is it good for the sport not
It's
to have your
amazing
bigger
for the
names
sport.
continue to do well, or would you rather see a slew of unknown names continuing to win?
Oh, it's amazing that we are getting these like unknowns throwing it down. Like it's so good for the sport, man.
Yeah,
Like you want to feel like
you have a chance.
exactly when you're looking at a national event and you look and you see like some kid wax the field and then 3 or 4 of the other top 10 are these unknowns. You're like, well, they can do it against them. Like I can do it.
Yeah,
Like it makes you self-belief when you see the same 10 names over and over again. You're like, I can't beat them. Like, and then that starts all the, oh, they're sharing info, this, that, the other, which I
yeah.
think is so stupid. But like, I, I think it's so good for the sport, man. Like so good.
So, with all that being said, we got the KBF National Championship coming to Kentucky Lake,
Yeah.
right? Give me your top three. Your top three that you think that's going to smash it this week.
Oh God, man. At the KBF National Championship, I don't even know who's going. I haven't even looked. Because like it's not like a TOC thing, man, where like you have to qualify. It's if you've caught a bass, you can fish.
Which is,
I don't know the roster. Like,
yeah. I mean,
and
your bigger names are there.
Of course,
Yeah.
but I don't know which ones decided to go and which ones didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at a list right now, so like unfortunately, like I don't have
I
anything.
think Josh Stewart's got to be number one.
If he's fishing, then yeah, he's in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah, Josh Stewart. I think Siddiqui. And
which Siddiqui are we getting? Are we getting? I'm taking it serious, Siddiqui, or I'm showing up to the boat ramp pissed drunk, Siddiqui.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, showing up to boat ramp pissed drunk, Siddiqui is better than I take it serious, Siddiqui.
That's why I asked.
Yeah,
yeah. That's why I asked.
And then I'm gonna, man. I'm trying to think.
Is Guillermo fishing it? Because if he's fishing, I'm picking.
I think like Christine. Christine's gonna.
I think Christine will do really well, man.
Yeah.
Like she's fishing great. Like,
yeah,
she's fishing so well.
Yeah, but I tell you, my sleeper, man. Don't sleep on old Nick Audi, man.
Oh, Nick Audi's fishing it.
Yeah, he'll be there.
I bet he'll be top 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on him for sure.
Yeah, but if G's fishing, I'm picking G, bro. Like,
yeah, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll be there.
He's so good right now, man.
And then you have Cody Milton. Cody will tear it up.
Yeah, Cody will fish great. I'm just saying, like, G in the fall is nasty, bro.
Yeah,
like, he's so good.
Yep. Yep. Mike Elsey, national championship. I wouldn't count him out. Fishing
I'm not going to count him out. But then, you asked for top 3. I think Stewart, G.
Don't forget about Derek Brundle, Matt Conant. Those guys will be there.
Yeah, I may take Christine third, bro. I don't know. Like, she's just fishing really well right now, man. And G is too. G's been on a heater, so,
For sure.
And I'm a Texas homer, bro. So, like,
Eric Siddiqui just wrote me. I think Eric Siddiqui is the favorite to win.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, I would love to see Siddiqui win, man. Like, Siddiqui is so good.
Can you imagine, dude, in 1 year you win the Bassmaster Classic and then you win the KBF National Championship in 1 year, same year?
Dude, that's all well and good. I care less about that. I just like Siddiqui as an ambassador for the sport because
maybe Hobie would actually give him a kayak if he won both.
I just like him as an ambassador, man, because like he's one of the guys that like takes it serious, but he's not a dick about it. He has fun. He goes and does his own thing. He has a good attitude.
Helps people out.
Yeah,
his
I'm
downfall. To his downfall,
saying
right?
great ambassador for kayak fishing,
Yeah.
like what it should be. Like it's about fun. You don't have to be such a serious asshole all the time, man.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I'd love for Siddiqui to do that, bro.
Yeah. And then right after that, man, obviously we have the KFL championship at Chickamauga, which could be fantastic. The Maulers versus the Coosa Kingfishers.
Who you got, bro?
Bro, I honestly, I'm not going to give you my pick yet until I see the water.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I want to see the water.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see what's up and see the lake conditions because I think that matters. It does. All I know is it's gonna be close, man. It's gonna be really close. I don't know. I have to look at it and see what's up.
Yeah.
But and then after that, dude, it's the TOC, man.
Dude, TOC. Oh, I can't wait. That's gonna be such a great tournament on Caddo, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like hats off to the scheduling they did there. Very, very nice.
And again, man, I mean, my favorite there is Josh Stewart too.
Stewart is definitely in my top 3. I'm not gonna pick against G, and I'm not gonna pick against Scotch.
Yeah.
Like,
is Scotch in the TOC?
He is.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, they did very well at the KBF event on Visno. Obviously, that was a different tournament, a little different conditions. But Caddo is a very similar lake. I think they'll do very well. So
right on.
And I'll tell you, dark horse pick for that one is Bailey.
Ooh,
Mr. New York coming down, man. I think it's in the fall. Spinnerbait bite should be decent. Guy's a wizard with a spinnerbait, man. I think he'll do quite well.
Yes, yeah, Siddiqui's gonna tear up Kentucky Lake.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Was he launching 24 miles up a creek or what?
He just wrote me. He's launching 23 miles up a creek.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
perfect.
just so there's no confusion, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, nice. Good for him. Good for him.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys, listen, we're out of here tonight, man. I'm gonna go watch my Bears. It's a 0-0 game. They've turned it over now twice.
Barn burner, bro.
Twice in the red zone, and it's not been good. So anyway, it's 0-0. It's 0-0 with 4 minutes to go in the half. This game,
Patron,
barn burner.
Sorry, we out of here, but
Patron's another one, man. I wouldn't sleep on, man.
At TOC?
No, at Kentucky Lake.
Oh, Kentucky Lake. Hey, Patron, just
he lives on
in the chat. Lake. Let us know. You finished in top 10?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah, he's gonna be.
We've been through some names, bro. There's some good. Are you top 10?
He's top 10.
I don't know if he's fishing far enough up the creek, bro.
Oh, he isn't fishing it. Oh,
see, Greg, not top 10. Your predictions.
No. Dang. Oh, work. That sucks. That sucks. Hey, I want to give a shout out to my boy Robert Brown, man.
Yep.
Be safe out what you're doing, man. Appreciate you and Adam. All these guys are serving the country, man. Appreciate you guys.
Big thanks.
All that you do. All right, guys, we're out of here. Peace.